grade 12 on this lesson 3. Let's look what we have here. We are given 3 terms of a geometric sequence. The first term, this is my term number 1, and my term number 1 is given as 4g minus 2. So this is term number 1. I have my term number 2 as g plus 1. Then we have my g minus 3 as term number 3. So now they want us to determine the value of g if g is an integer, and they say hence show that the first 3 terms are 18, 6 and 2. You know, this kind of question, I'll never get them wrong. You know why? Because I already know what should be my answer. If I don't get 18, 16, 2 as my first 3 terms, I know that I did something wrong. These are some of the questions that I'll never leave the exam room without getting them right. You see those questions where I already know what my answer should be, I'm going to fight. So now, let's try and analyze this question. So what we do is that this is what you guys do in class with your teacher. Determine the value of this part of the question. Determine the value of g. So most of the time in class, you guys don't do the if statement. You'll be asking yourself, where is this if statement coming from? So now I'm going to focus on what I did with my teacher in class. Then now, when you keep on moving on your solution, there will be a step where you're going to understand what they mean by the if g is an integer. For now, focus on what you know, which is finding the variable g. So how do we do that? They already told us that this is a geometric sequence. We already know that this is a geometric sequence. So what I'm going to do is to find the value of r, which is the common ratio. So remember, r is equals to T2 over T1. But now when you are looking for a variable and it's a common, it's a geometric sequence, please make sure that you take the T2 over T1, equate it to T3 over T2. I'm going to explain why you need to do that. But now you need to find T2, which is your T2 is g plus 1. You're going to put it on top and say this is g plus 1. Divide that by T1. And T1 is the first term, which is 4g minus 2. Equate this to your T3, which is g minus 3 over g plus 1. So you can see that when you have something like this, this gives you the chance to find for g, because you'll be able to do what? To cross multiply and multiply out the bracket. So what I'm trying to say is that I need you to rewrite this equation in this form. Okay, maybe we should just work it out here and say this will be, you cross multiply. You take the numerator of this fraction here, you're going to multiply it with the denominator. You're going to take this, you multiply it with that. So what I'm trying to say is that when we cross multiply, we're going to take the g plus 1, we're going to multiply that by the g plus 1. Both of them, they are g plus 1. Okay, let's do that. Equate this to the 4g minus 2 into g minus 3. So you can see that the next step that you need to do is to multiply out the bracket on both sides. So now g times g is g squared minus, plus g plus 1. I think you guys are in grade 12 now. You understand the FOIL method, how the FOIL method works. Is g times g gives us g squared, then g times 1 gives us g. Then we do the same with the 1, g times g, g times that 1. So now when we add the like terms, we are left with g squared plus, this will be g squared plus 2g. G squared plus 2g plus 1. It's equals to, let's equate this to, we need to do the same on the other side. Multiplying out the bracket will give us 4g squared minus 4g times negative 3 will give us negative 12g. This will give us negative 12g minus, we said this times that, this times that. Then now we say minus 2 times g will give us minus 2g, minus 2 times 3 will give us positive 6. So if you add the like terms, you're going to equate this to what? 4g squared minus 14g plus 6. Okay, I think everything is good now. I think everything is good. So what we're going to do is to group the like terms. So we can just move everything to the other side. So meaning that this will be g squared. Let's move this 4g to the other side to be minus 4g squared. Then I have plus 2g. Let's move the minus 14 to the other side to be positive 14g. Remember, if you move the number to the other side of the equation, it changes the sign. Then we have plus 1. Let's move the 6 to be minus 6. Equate this to 0. So now, if we just continue working on this problem, we're going to have g squared minus 4g. What do we get there? G squared minus 4g, that's negative 3g squared. Then we have 2g, which is added. We have 2g, which is added to 14, which will give us positive 16. Okay, so now this will be positive 16 g. Then we have 1 minus 5 is minus 5. Equate this to 0. So now what I'm going to do now, I need to put this in a quadratic form. When I say put it in a quadratic form, this is the form that I need you to put it in. AB, okay, it's an squared plus bn plus c. So always when we work with quadratic, remember we need to make sure that the value of a is positive. So we just have to multiply everything by negative. So this will give us 3g squared minus 16g plus 5, and this is equal to 0. So now what we're going to do, we need to factorize. We need to factorize. This will be 3g this side. This will be g. Remember, now I think everyone understands why we say algebra is the motherboard. So if you don't understand algebra, you're going to start struggling from the cross multiplication. You're going to make mistakes from multiplying out the brackets. You're going to make mistakes from adding the like terms. You're going to make mistakes from moving everything to the other side. So now algebra is very important, because now, can you see, now we moved from geometric sequences. Now we're working with a quadratic equation. Now you need to know how to factorize a quadratic equation. So now to factorize this, what you're going to do is that to factorize this, we need the factors of 5, which is just 5 and 1. But now you need to be very careful where you put the 5, and you need to be very careful where you put the 1. Let me quickly show you how easy it is to choose where the 5 will go. Let's say I put 1 this side. You take this 3, you multiply it with 1. What do we get? We get 3. Is 3 close to negative 16? No. So the 1 won't work. We need to bring the 5. We need to bring the 5 this other side. So we're going to put the 5. So now what is 3 times 5? 15. Is 15 close to 16? Yes. It's close. So the 5 will go to the other side. The 5 will go to the other side, and our g, the 5 will go to the other side, the 1 to this side. But remember, it is positive, meaning both of them should be negative. So this is equated to 0. Then we use what we call the zero product property. So the zero product property says that if you have A multiplied by B and they are equated to 0, you can take A equated to 0 and take B equated to 0. So this bracket should be equated to 0 and solve for G. So now what we're going to do, we're going to say that the 3G, okay, let's take the 3G minus 1 and equate it to, okay, let's take the 3G minus 1 equated to 0, the G minus 5 equated to 0. So now 3G is equals to 1. Therefore, what is G? G is just 1 over 3, or G is equals to 5. So now go back to the question, because now we have two values of G, but we are looking for one. They gave us the restriction if G is an integer. So now if D is an integer, we know that 1 over 3 is a decimal, is not an integer. So that is out. You see now, the if statement only work on the final solution. Even if you don't understand this if statement, at least you're going to collect marks. So now G must not be equals to 1 over 3, but G must be equals to 5. So now they said hence or otherwise. Now we know G is 5. Hence or otherwise, we need to show that the first three terms are 18, 6, and 2. So if we don't get those one, then that's when you're going to see that the value of G, somewhere, somehow, you made a mistake. Then you need to go and fix that mistake. T1, it's equals to 4G minus 2. So this will be equal to, where there's G, let's substitute 5. So it's 4 times 5 minus 2, which will give us 18. We test T2. T2 is G plus 1. So that will be 5 plus 1 is 6. Let's test term number 3. Term number 3 is G minus 3, which is 5 minus 3, which will give us 2. So we've managed to prove that the first two terms are 18, 6, and 2. Then that's when I'm going to start celebrating, because now if this question was 5 marks, I know that I'm going to write down that this 5 marks, done. I got all the marks. And that's it for this lesson. So now, the most important thing is for you to apply what you already know. Before focusing on the questions that are giving you problems, focus on what you already know, which is determine the value of G. So when you do that, the other things will just give you a clue. They said if G is an integer, then you can see, oh, 1 over 3 is not an integer. So now, the reason they put the if statement is because we have two values of G where we need to choose one. So now the if statement is there to help us choose which value of G we should go for, which is 5, not 1 over 3. Right, and that's it for this lesson.